recording and flip this around. Hey everybody, welcome back. It's been about 2 weeks since the last video because I took a week off. I'm doing this video a little bit later than I should be doing it, but I wanted to do a video this week because, I didn't want to take too much time off of it. So what I've been doing over the past couple weeks is I finally finished up the gallery area. I know I've been talking about this for like 4 videos, but it's finally done. So now it's just been a matter of starting to detail the area that's around the gallery. So that includes some different like just details around the entranceway, and there's an entrance and another entrance or exit on either side of the actual gallery. So both those have to get detailed out. So I've been working on that. I also did a little bit of changes to the way that the grass texture, I guess you would call it, looks. And so the grass in the game kind of is a little more detailed than it used to be. So here's kind of a comparison between those two different grass textures. So I think that looks better. I've also just been doing more kinds of bush assets and things to just detail out the environment. And I went back to part of the orchard and added some of those elements in there because it's always been kind of the plan or the idea for the orchard that it would kind of be like very kind of manicured on one side, and as it goes over towards that eastern side, it would become increasingly kind of a mess and scraggly. And so so I've been trying to do more things there to try to sell that idea, I guess. That's pretty much what I've been doing, is just grinding away on that stuff. But at least the gallery's done, and that's connected in there. So with that said, I do want to have a little bit of a topic of the week this week. This is a weird topic, but I wanted to talk about online video game design essays, which I have had a brief foray into in the past, having personally done them. But for the most part, I don't really like any online game design video essays that I see, because they tend to be done by people who clearly don't have any real experience making games at all. So they pontificate about things that it's kind of like armchair game design, right? It's like anybody could have done this video. And so it ends up coming more down to just the quality of the production of the video. But I don't really get that much out of it as somebody who actually has had a lot of experience making games. However, I did want to highlight a few channels that I think are worthy of consideration that are sort of in and around that area of the game design essay or whatever. So the first of these channels is a channel called DesignDoc. And specifically, I'd like to highlight the Good Design, Bad Design series. And the reason I like this series so much is because it really does what I think a good design essay should do, which is like communicate some kind of domain-specific knowledge. And in this case, that knowledge is about like user interface, user experience design. And the series just does a really good job of just kind of giving you examples of good design and bad design, and talking about what works or what doesn't work about the different interfaces in video games. The actual stuff that's communicated in there may actually be very low-level ideas if you're experienced in that field, but for somebody like me who doesn't have that much experience with like user interface design, it's pretty enlightening and interesting. So I would definitely recommend that series. In a similar vein, I'd like to recommend the channel New Frame Plus, which does analysis of animations in video games. And these videos can kind of vary in terms of I think the amount of insightfulness that they provide, but they're definitely in-depth analysis of animations that you may have not really thought about very much when you were playing certain games that you liked. And again, this knowledge could be, if you were, a professional animator, not that useful. But if you're somebody like me who, although I think the animations in Taiji are certainly serviceable, I wouldn't consider myself a good animator by any stretch of the imagination. So I still have a lot to learn, and I think watching these videos does sometimes get me to think about animation maybe in a way that I hadn't thought about it before. So the third and final channel that I want to recommend is actually a bit of a cheat because it's probably the most popular of these three. And you may already know about this channel, so that's Nikki Jakey's channel. But the reason I wanted to recommend this channel is because it fits a different kind of mold than New Frame Plus or DesignDoc do, in that it is kind of more of a general game design type essays channel, although it kind of does two things right that make me like it versus those other channels. There's like no level of pretentiousness. I mean, the channel's called Nikki Jakey, for crying out loud. So there's like no level of pretentiousness about what kind of information you're going to get from this channel. It's primarily meant to be an entertainment channel. And I think the essays tend to take more of a personal bent and less of a academic style that you might get from some of the more popular game design video essayists on YouTube. So Nikki Jakey does do sometimes videos that are outside of the confines of the realm of video games, which is part of why it's a little bit of a cheat as well. But once again, Nikki Jakey is another channel that I would happily recommend to people if they have not watched it. So that I think this hopefully is a little bit more of a positive topic of the week, because I tend to be more critical. And there is a little bit of criticism towards, the unnamed popular video game design video essayists on YouTube in this whole thing. But, I felt like it would be nice to put out some positive energy there and talk about things that I like. So with that said, I've been thinking a little bit about maybe doing a video or a playthrough video. I don't know which I'll do of Inside, because it's been kind of suggested by a couple people that might be an interesting thing for people to see me look at. I don't want to spoil that too much, but I don't think that it will be a super game design focused thing, although I may find it more critical. It may be a more critical game design analysis than you might expect. So maybe stay tuned for that. In any case, subscribe to the channel and you'll see whatever's coming down the pipe. And like this video if you did like it. And there's a link in the description to wishlist Taiji on Steam. If you haven't already, just go on over there and wishlist it. And follow Taiji Game on Instagram. I post 3 times a week a screenshot there. So if you like screenshots, that's the best place to get them. I also follow the devlog, which is taiji-game.com, and you can follow Taiji Game on Twitter, if that's not enough Taiji for you. Anyway, we're just going to cut it short and leave it at that for this week. But I will see you all around I think we'll do 2 weeks again and see how that goes. If I start feeling like this is too sparse, then I'll go back to doing them once a week. But anyway, I'll see you all around. Have a good one, everybody.